Hey guys, let's talk about tonight's episode of Scandal. Oh my gosh. Wow. So we took a week off last week and we've returned and we pick up right where we left off from the episode before where Papa Pope shows up at Olivia's front door and her gentleman friend Russell is standing there beside Papa Pope with a look of worry on his face. And I said it in my last week's review that Olivia is always seemed to be put in a situation with these guys that are not trustworthy. And at first, in this episode, you're just trying to believe that, yeah, he's an innocent guy in all of this. He was drugged. He shows up at her doorstep. He's all like, oh, I really want a relationship. And, you calling yourself Alex, this isn't something that I'm into. And she's all like, oh, well, I need this because when I'm Alex, I don't think about anything. I feel calm. I feel relaxed. And of course, when will Olivia learn that these men are all poison? Oh my God. So I'm going to get back to that in a minute. But can we talk about that opening scene with Papa Pope? Oh my God. He is nuts. And he always goes on and on and on about all this stuff. And in this one, it was just as big as all of his others. He pretty much acted as though he wanted Olivia to take a case, and that how could some people be talking about him being the head of some organization called B613, and you need to shut this down, and you need to do whatever you can to hold up the republic, and you're not just going to let people come in here and tell you what to do. And I was just like, oh my God, Papa Pope is on a serious rant right now. And at one point, he even says to her, oh, are you upset with the president because you're willing to basically use him to set this fire ablaze? He must have done something to upset you and da 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 da. And I was just like, oh boy. So he was just hammering all these points home in this very opening scene. It's probably like 7 minutes long. And he was just going on and on about, what Olivia needed to do. She needed to be on the right side of this, not letting these people, obviously we know that it's David Rosen, Huck, Quinn, and Jake try to take down B613. So, of course, the next scene we see is her in David Rosen's office, and they're talking about this, and, Olivia is pretty much saying she's going to do whatever she needs to do to take down B613. And if that means to blow up the president, then that's what she's going to do. Because a lot of these things tie back to the president, right? So, at one point, David Rosen was even asking Jake about like cases that he had worked on, and he brings up, Remington? He brings up that case, and obviously that was the one where the president gave the order to take down the civilian plane, which killed over 300 people. And, David Rosen is hearing this for the first time, and Jake is sitting across from Olivia like, do we tell him? And she does. So that scene when she walks out of that meeting and then she's walking down the long hallway and she gets those flashes of that red doorway when she was kidnapped, I thought was very powerful. And when she gets into the elevator and she sort of like shrinks into the corner and she's like shaking her, and she's just like beside herself because obviously she's realizing what lengths she's going to have to go to take down her father, and that means she's going to have to expose all of this stuff regarding the Fitzgerald Grant, and obviously, he might not have been president at the time, but it's just crazy all the things that have happened, and that Rowan is part of, and that will ultimately affect the Republic. So yeah, that was a very powerful scene. So we also had the case of the week, which was a throwback to an episode that was very powerful a few weeks ago, which was the murder of the unarmed black teenager. And they're trying to pass the Brandon bill. And this is a bill that they want to pass in the Senate and I guess put it into law, and they need to get all the signatures, the people to pass the bill, and it comes down to the VP. And she's reading this bill for the first time, and Cyrus is pressuring her. Everybody's pressuring her to sign this bill, and she's like, well, I haven't even read it yet, and it's like 1,200 pages, and she's got all these questions, and they're all legitimate questions, And ultimately, she basically says, look, I don't want to be president. I'm not vying for that seat, but I am vying for change, and I want to do whatever I can to help you get that. And so she calls out the president and says, listen, this bill sucks. And if you pass it, you're basically passing nothing because it doesn't make any sense. It's nothing. It's just a bunch of compromises, not an actual, threatening, not threatening, but telling people that this is the way it has to be. So then they come together, they put their heads together to try to fix this bill. And while they're taking the time to do this, Mellie announces her Senate race, or yeah, she announces that she's going to run for senator. And so then the attention is sort of off of the fact that this bill isn't going to get passed on that day, but all the attention is now on Mellie, where it should be, because she's going to try to run and ultimately, down the road, run for president. So so that was one case of the week, and then the other storyline, or not case, but the actual case of the week was we had what's his name, Marcus Walker, who was the activist when the gentleman was shot and killed. He was there, actively going up against Olivia and was trying to be on the other side of Olivia's debate when she was defending the cops, and then he was on the other side defending the citizens of the city. And he's now running for mayor, or I think he always was, but he's running for mayor. And it turns out he was having an affair with the mayor's wife. And at the very beginning of the episode, they walk in, her, Quinn, and Huck, and he's covered. Well, he's not covered in blood, but the wife is on the bed, and she's been murdered. And it turns out that it's actually the mayor who arranged for her murder, because I guess he was mad that she was cheating, and so they killed her. And then, the case of the week was actually pretty good, and I like that, Marcus ultimately couldn't lie, and he told the truth when he was just supposed to accept the fact that the mayor was going to step down and he was going to step into that role, but he couldn't lie, and he said, this is the truth. I didn't, the mayor killed his wife, and he should be held accountable for that, and I was having an affair, and all this went down because of that. And he turns out on the better side of it, so it all kind of works out in his favor. But I thought that was a very interesting case of the week, which had Huck and Quinn going back to what they do best, which is cleaning up crime scenes. And what did she say? She called it the fluff and fold. And I was like, what does that mean? And it was just really gross. They basically put the woman in a bag, like knocked her, every bone in her body, so that would shrink her up really close, like tight, and they just cleared the crime scene. They put her in a suitcase. It was just so disturbing. But, Quinn and Huck were just like, yay, like kids in a candy store. And I was just like, oh my God. So, yeah, all that was going down. And so, of course, we get another sight of Russell. He comes to Olivia's door, and he's pretty much like, look, I like you, but this whole Alex thing that you're doing, I'm not into that. I'm really looking for a relationship. And he's all cute, and he's all smoldering, and she's all gorgeous. And the two of them just go at it. And they make hot love and sex, and it was just a very good scene. And, after that, you're thinking, okay, Olivia needs a break. She does. She needs a break from, door number 1 and door number 2, one being the president, the other one being Jake. And this is a nice release for her. So, am I mad at it? No. Do I think that she should open up her eyes? Yes. And of course, we understand why, because at the end, it's just all kinds of bad news. And whenever they do like a little montage between different storylines that are going on, it's not going to end well. So, of course, we have David Rosen and all of them in his office, and they're toasting to the fact that they're going to do this. They're going to go at it. They're going to take down B613 no matter what the cost. Then you have a scene where Olivia tells her dad, I am choosing the other side. I am not choosing to help you. I am going to take you down. I'm going to do whatever it takes. And he's all like, I'm proud of you. You've chosen a side. You're standing up on your own 2 feet. You're not licking off the president's boots. We may be on opposite sides, but I'm very proud of you because you're standing up for yourself, and you're doing this and you're doing that. And he's like, but don't get it twisted. There will be blood. And she's all like, oh no. And then of course, we get to the final scene. And that scene, Olivia, or Jake, thinks he's going to see Olivia at the office because she sends him a text, And of course, he's surprised by somebody there in a mask. They start fighting, which I thought the fight scene was a little weak because we've seen Jake, go at it before. And it looked like this was a little too easy peasy, but the two of them are fighting, and then Jake gets on top of him and he pulls back the mask, and bam, it's Russell. Of course it's Russell because you can't trust any of them. So Russell, is now Jake sort of looks at him and goes, "I know you," because he's seen him earlier when he went, or when, because he was surveilling Olivia, and he knows that Olivia's been seeing this guy. So that's like, he's like, "I know you from somewhere," obviously, and that's where he knows him from. And then boom, he pulls out like a pocket knife and just stabs him like 4 times. And I'm like, no. And Jake topples over and he's like, "I expected better from you. Rowan was always going on and on about how you were his golden boy and how, I expected you to put up a fight." But he's like, basically like, "You're weak, man." And he goes, "I'm going to go at you one more time." And then he just takes the knife and goes, bam, 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 bam. I'm like, ah. It's like, Jake, no. So, I mean, I don't see him surviving this. Do you? Like, seriously. He gutted him like a fish. So if Jake is alive by the end of this, in next week's episode, I would be shocked. It would literally have to be them arriving and he's literally gargling up blood and he dies in front of them, or he's dead. They come to the office and he's dead. Like, and that is just horrible. Horrible. And you know that this is what's going to happen. Like, when they were all in that office, first of all, I was like, okay, well, he's not gonna blow it up because he's not gonna kill his own daughter. But I was like, oh, something was gonna go down in that office. That's what I thought when all of them were together. So I just, how this is gonna end is just, not gonna be good. Whenever David and them are all like cheering to the white hats and all that nonsense, I'm like, you guys are in for a rude awakening. So yeah, wow. That was a way to end it for sure. Okay, guys, let me know what you thought of this week's episode. I enjoyed it. I thought there was a lot of good pieces to this. Mellie finally running for senator. It was about time. I like the case of the week that they brought back, a player that we'd seen a few episodes before. And I like that they kind of brought him back to the fold. I'm liking that Olivia's getting her groove on, but hello, you need to vet these boys a little bit more better, because like you're faking who you are with your little Alex name. He's fully faking who he is, and he was so menacing in that final scene. I was like, oh my god, not good, guys. So will he go after Huck? Like, will he eventually go after Huck? I mean, if that day comes, whoa, I am not looking to see that battle, and my money is always going to be on Huck. Wow. Okay, guys, let me know what you thought of this week's episode. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you next week. Bye.